Good morning, everyone. If you're new to the channel, we cover stock market technical analysis. Really, everything's about the charts, and it's reading what these charts are telling us, where the stocks are potentially going to go. So I'm always covering, just the general markets, and also pointing out trade ideas that I'm seeing in the markets, and how I'm going to be trading those particular trade ideas. So if you guys like that content, this kind of content, give me a thumbs up. I know it can be kind of just right to the point, kind of dry, but again, when you make money doing it, that's where you get your entertainment from. So guys, let's start out today with I'm going to start out with the financials and the industrials, because these are the key sectors I've really been narrowing in on for the last little while. They're really the strength in the market has been in these sectors. If you look at the tech and the large cap tech, those have just been going sideways. They're not breaking down, but they're also not really going up. They're just kind of floating sideways. And yet the financials and the industrials have been in an uptrend. So these to me look like they're about to break. Obviously today, I want to kind of zero in. We have this uptrend line on the daily on both of them, but this is the industrials, XLI. And you can see as I zoom in, starting to crack. It's not that impulsive yet though. But we have negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. So, if you're new, then, if you're new to understanding what negative divergence, what it means and how to actually understand how to trade that, you can take my training course, link in the description below. That will go through all these concepts that I cover, or just follow along on these videos. But again, the course is really laid out in a very structural way to help you with that. But you can see negative divergence. So we made a new high right there in XLI, and yet the momentum recently was on less momentum. Right there on the PPO and there on the RSI. So we have negative divergence in the industrials. So we're looking for a sell signal, and a sell signal would come on an impulsive breakdown of this trend line. Now we do have a breakdown. It's right there. It's just not impulsive, but you can see all these days. This is like 2 weeks, just barely hanging on there. It just kind of whips below. They step in and stick save it. That's what these are, stick saves. At some point during the day, it was selling off, and then the buyer stepped in and bid it back up. And again, yesterday we sold off. The buyers didn't really step in, and today we're still below, but not far below. It's not that impulsive, so I'm not taking this as a sell signal. But one caveat to kind of put out there is, if the selling increases into the close today, if we see more selling come in, and we start to close, start to get that big red candle where we sell off, then that would be a sell signal and a breakdown. So it's right there. It's very close, and I've started kind of building a list of some of these industrials, just looking at interesting ones that maybe might start to break first. Here's URI. I talked about this yesterday. Uptrend line right here. We just got a sell signal yesterday. Today they're kind of popping it up. I'd like to see the sell, the bounce really stop here. I wouldn't really like to see it go back up and back test the trend line. Ideally, when you get a breakdown or a sell signal, you want to see follow through selling. So I'm looking for selling to come in to the end of the day, into the close, and if we get that, then that would be a sell signal. First level of support would be, I see about 267.50, and then next level of support about 235.50, we'll say. Again, negative divergence on both the PPO and the RSI, telling me that we're likely going to break and get that sell signal. And yesterday was a sell signal. I would like to see some more follow through, and I'd like to see the sector go, the XLI break as well. That would help. That would really help mitigate the risk on this. But that is a sell signal. It's a breakdown. I'd like to see some selling come into the close on this. And if it does, I'll likely take a position. ITW, this is another one, Illinois Tool Works. Again, coming off the March 2020 lows. And you can see a clear uptrend line, negative divergence in the PPO, and not really negative divergence in the RSI. So kind of a mixed bag. And we don't have a sell signal. You can see so far today, we started to sell off and the buyer stepped in and bid it back up. So a stick save as of right now. Again, you need to see the impulsive selling come in to give you a break. There's also a level of support on this one at about 277.55. So this might want to go up some more and then break. And if it breaks higher, then I would look at 277.55 as your first level of support. Here's another one, Emerson Electric. This one, we do not have a sell signal, but we have a clear uptrend line right there on the daily chart. We have negative divergence on the PPO, and we pretty much have it on the PPO and the RSI. You can see how we're just downtrending on both. The PPO is pointed up right now, so you'd want to see that confirmed by start to point down. The thing to watch is no sell signal. We still are above trend, so we got to come down. We still need to come down and break the trend line, and that would give us our sell signal. So those are three that I'm kind of watching. URI and ITW look a little more interesting right now than EMR. Okay, let's move over to the financials. We'll start out with the sector here. This one, XLF, is below trend right now. It did break, and this is coming off October 2020. Clear uptrend line right here on the daily chart, and you can see we just broke trend today. It's not that impulsive yet, so we broke the dip buyers are there trying to stick save it. Let's see what happens into the close. If we start to see some selling come in and the sellers really push this thing down into the close, that's going to be your sell signal in the financials. And we have negative divergence in the PPO and the RSI. So again, I think we're going to get the sell signal. I don't know if we'll get it today. They might be able to recover it and maybe continue to kind of grind higher and then break. Or it might come today. But I do think we are going to get that sell signal and break and start to head lower. I think of the financials, when you get that sell signal, an obvious target is going to be down here at this like 31 area, all the way down there for the XLF. And then some of these stocks, this one, Ally Financial, ALLY, I've been talking about this one for a while, and I'm just waiting to short this thing in reality. Clear uptrend line off the March 2020 lows on the daily chart. Negative divergence on the PPO and the RSI. So clean setup, looking for a break or a sell signal. So I wouldn't want to be long this. If you're not long, if you're already long, you could just stay long until you get that sell signal. But I wouldn't want to just start taking a long position. Again, I want to take a long position down here. I want to look for a short position up after a long extended uptrend. And that's what this is, a very, very extended, pretty much overextended uptrend. You can see today breaking the trend, but again, the buyers are there stepping in. It's program. It's almost like Pavlovian, where the buyers basically, you break a trend and the buyers just buy, and that's what's going on. So no sell signal yet, but again, look at how things come into the close. If we sell off into the close and actually start to break below today's lows basically and get a nice firm daily close, that would be a sell signal for sure. So I'll be looking for that. Doesn't mean it's going to show up. I think it's unlikely it's going to show up today, but it might. And so if it does, that's all. I'd like to get this video out so everyone can anticipate that and know what's happening if they see it. We break, then Ally's coming down to about $43. It's about 43 for the first level of support, and then you can see back here this kind of level right here. This is the next level, which is about 33, 36 or so. Some of these other ones, like Wells Fargo, you can see here coming off the October 2020. Clear uptrend line. This one's broke. It just hasn't broken down yet because the financials haven't, as a sector, haven't broke. So it's just drifting sideways. This tells me we're likely going to break. We're starting to see some of these stocks, break their trend, but not impulsively sell off yet. So we could back test. I don't know. There's no action. There's no sell signal on this because, we broke, but it's not an impulsive breakdown. But I just want to point out we're starting to see the trend lines get violated on some of these. And here's another one, MasterCard. Again, coming off the March 2020 lows, held support, held support, held support all through here. We have negative divergence on the PPO and pretty much on the RSI. This was your divergent high right up in here. And we're just waiting for that sell signal. You can see over the last, the financials have been grinding along trendline support for about 3 weeks now. This one potentially even longer. And we are just waiting for that impulsive breakdown. So we don't have it yet, but I think it's going to show up. Here's Bank of America, same deal. Clear uptrend line off of November 2020, but you can see held support, and we're starting to kind of create this bearish rising wedge. Today, they made it look like it was going to break, but the buyer stepped in. Again, this is a daily chart, and when you're looking for daily swing trade setups, you need to see that daily close. So a lot of the time you'll get an intraday break, and then the buyers will step in and recover it and create a stick save, basically. So again, you want to see that big impulsive selling, and you want to really have confidence that that daily candle is going to close with that sell signal that you're looking for. So we don't have that sell signal. They've, as of right now, recovered the trend line. If the sellers come into the end of the day, into the close, then we'll have that sell signal here on Bank of America. Let's take a look at some of these gold miners. We'll start off with gold here. All right, so gold, is holding a trend line. You've got bigger picture. I like gold to the long side. I think gold is in a longer, more sustainable bull market. But that doesn't mean gold's going to go up every day. Let me grab the right tool here. And so, really, gold came out, just to look at the bigger picture, just so everyone can understand what my thoughts are on gold. This is a weekly chart. So this is going back, 20 years. Gold had a really strong bull market. This is what a bull market looks like in gold from 2000 to up to 2011. The thing went from $200 up to, 2000. So quite a, that's 1,000% gain within that entire bull market. And that lasted, 10, 11 years. So it, gold is, when it's in a nice steady bull market, it should continue to trend over years. It's not like you're going to this isn't AMC or any of those meme stocks where they just go straight up and then straight down. Gold then created this big rounding bottom, which actually ended up being a cup and handle. So you can see you've got this big cup, and then you create a handle, which is kind of marked right here, and then you break, and then if you break out to the upside of the handle, then that typically means you're starting the next leg higher in a bull trend. And what you would typically do is measure about the top of the cup to the bottom, and then that's your measured target out of there. So that's setting us up for around $2,500 gold. So quite a ways up there, and that's the bigger picture on gold. Now going back to the daily chart. Here's this breakout, and we're just continuing to hold this trend. So you can see we tagged it recently, and we're still above it. So till we break this trend, I don't see any reason that gold is bearish. Another thing to keep an eye on is, there's no negative divergence either. You can see here on the daily, I don't see any negative divergence in the RSI or the PPO telling me that we're going to get a trend reversal yet. So I'm still thinking gold's, bullish and going to go higher. And by proxy, I think the miners are going to go higher as well. Here's Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold's, I had this trend line marked out. We only had 2 data points. So it's not a verified trend line. We had 1 and 2. And then kind of got a reaction here, but not, only a couple days. We didn't really get a bounce off of it. So I can't say that's a valid trend line. So something to look for. Barrick could pull back a little bit. I could see us pulling back, but I think these dips are going to get bought, and I believe gold continues to be bullish. So ultimately, I think Barrick is heading up to, I think it's going to make a high above these recent highs above this 31. I think we're going to start to break higher. That's what it looks like gold's going to do. Here's Agnico Eagle. You can see kind of holding a trend line as well. We have 2 data points 1 and 2. So not a valid trend line unless we start to see a reaction right here. We're kind of stalling out. We'll see what happens, whether we can hold. But still above trend if this is a valid trend line. So that still looks good to me. Harmony Gold is starting to break down a little bit. So this one had a cleaner trend line. You can see we had lots of reactions along this, and we basically have broken trend. Now we don't have we've never had negative divergence showing up on the daily, telling us that we're going to have a sustainable break in trend. So one way to play this, we could be pulling all the way back down to, let's say, about $4, 410 or something like that, 410. And that would potentially be a back test of this trend line. Maybe we come all the way down. That's going to be, again, back into my buy zone, and I'll probably be looking to add to a position. I don't have a huge position in this one because the thing is, this is a this is a smaller miner. So I don't take larger gold mining positions. I'll take with the larger miners, and the smaller ones, I just pick a couple of them and have smaller positions relative to my entire portfolio. But if we backtest down to here, that's the buy zone. That would be a backtest of the broken trend line, and then we're likely going to continue moving higher. So this one is starting to break though, so we could have some more downside. Something to look for on that one. And I'll do a quick run through on some of these short trade ideas that I've talked about. I'm short several of these positions. Let's just start here at the bottom, I guess. Lift, you can see getting rejected off of resistance right here at about 58.75. You can see that was support on this daily chart. All through here, held support. We finally broke, and once we broke, hit it once, rejected, hit it twice. We've been rejected twice. Again, we could go higher. I could see us running up to do a back test. Let me get rid of this. We could do a back test of this trend line, and that's possible. But we're still below the trend. All right. So here's the trend on the daily, and we had a sell signal right there. There's your sell signal, counter trend bounce. A lot of these times when you get that initial sell signal, you'll see it kind of work, and then you'll see that counter trend bounce. So anybody who was kind of late to the party, shorting, maybe they shorted down here after it sold off quite a bit, they get washed out on that counter trend bounce as it goes against them. But if you got short right here, right up when you started to see the sell signal break, and you took a short, at some point that day, then, the thing went against you 6%, all right? And the profit target on this is about 32. So risk reward, basically, if you got short here with a profit target down to here, that's a 40% potential profit, and it's gone against you 6%. So very favorable risk reward. Now, you could even set, you could set a stop. I mean, if you're targeting 40%, you could set a stop for a 10-15% stop and still have a pretty good risk reward ratio. A 10% stop is a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio, and that would have given you a stop probably on a recovery of this trend line right up in here. All right, so if you see that, maybe you want to stop out. Again, I'd wait for a daily close, a nice solid daily close above the trend line, and make sure it's going to hold above that trend line. It's not just a stop raid. That would be my stop, is somewhere up in here. But likely, I think we're going to get rejected and work our way lower. So still looks good to me. WGO, Winnebago, you can see just getting rejected off of this resistance, 73.70. That was support. See the breakout candle? So it held resistance all through here, finally broke out. Came back in, kind of held support again, held support. Now we're below, broke down with a breakdown candle, and now it's resistance. Hit it as resistance, hit it as resistance. So again, I think we're going lower, 60.84, next level of support, looks good to me. Tesla, they came out with some news or something about Tesla doing good sales in China today, and they gapped it up 3%, and the sellers were right there waiting to sell it down. So down 1%. As of today, even after gapping up. So again, just continuing to kind of grind its way lower from what I can tell is work its way lower. 40.62 roughly is support. still looking for Tesla to run down to there. Toll Brothers. This one's just below support. Here's your trend line on the daily. Again, sell signal right there. Came with negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. Backtest 1, backtest 2, kind of drifting sideways. Again, I think we're going lower. Looks good to me. Snap. I'm not short this one right now, but this one has a potential for a false breakout. So things to look for. Watch this trend line right here on the daily. We broke above, not super impulsive, and we've just been kind of grinding along, not able to really lift off. If we break back down, this was a false breakout or a bull trap, and likely that's going to set us up for a move all the way down, at least to 41. But I think likely lower. The major level of support on this is about 48.50, 48.75, somewhere right in there. It's right here. If we break that, I think we're going down to gap fill, all the way down at $29. Big gap right down there to fill, or at least work our way into there. So I'm not in the trade right now, but if we get that break back below this trend line here, I'll reestablish a short because that was a bull trap, and that's likely going to set us up for a big move down. Starbucks, again, trend line support right here, clear uptrend, negative divergence on the PPO, and it's an equal high, I would say, on this RSI right here. And yeah, it's an equal high with this peak right here. So negative divergence on the RSI because you made a new higher high in price. Broke, trendline support, there's your sell signal, and then we've just been backtesting. We backtested, we're continuing to sell off. So the buyers are, today we're up 0.25%, and that's as good as they can do from the buying standpoint. So I think we're likely going to continue to drift lower. Then the seller's going to realize that this thing's going to start downtrending, and the selling will increase as more and more people realize this. Next level of support, 101.30. Neo, not much. I'm not going to cover that one. There's not a big change from yesterday. DraftKings. All right, so DraftKings, you've got a clear level of resistance right here on the daily. See this? We held support here. Finally, we broke, had a sell signal right there, and we're back testing. Now, they overshot it today. They're running it up back into the support. This is a stop rate, most likely. So this is likely going to be the end of the run. We could run all the way up to 57.30 or about 57 I see as a potential level of resistance. You can see we held support all through there. So maybe a little higher, and then it fails. All right, so I'm looking for that to happen in this area. Anything more than that, we go higher than that, I'll stop out. But I think it looks good to the downside. We had clear negative divergence up here. This was all divergent high price action. All right, so I think we've likely started a downtrend in DraftKings. It's going to make its way next lower. Level of support that I see on this, really I think the big level where it's heading is probably 30.50. That's likely, and potentially all the way down to this 18.50. About $18-19, somewhere right in there. That's a ways down there though. Deere, 3 weeks of sideways action. We broke trend. Here's your uptrend line, your divergent high. You had negative divergence. There's your sell signal, and we're drifting lower. We've just been going sideways for 3 weeks, so this is just consolidating as I think it works its way lower. Carvana, no change really there. And Boyd Gaming, Boyd Gaming is making what looks to be a slight uptrend like this. So it might want to run up and test this resistance level right up here at 67.24. I think this will be the end of the run if it's going to continue to go up. Again, here's your sell signal on Boyd. So this is where you'd want to, this is where I established a short position on it. So sometimes they'll run up and make you go underwater a little bit, pop it above here. And that's what I think that's what it looks like it's going to do at least. Maybe pop it above here a little bit and then start to roll over. Still short. I like it. I think we're going lower. So we'll keep an eye on those. And Peloton, I talked about this one. We have a downtrend line here on Peloton on the daily chart. And basically, we had a rally right into that resistance. Now, you can see today they're kind of popping it above, making it look like it's going to break out. But this is not a breakout, all right? A breakout is a bullish green candle. Maybe you look for volume to confirm, something like that, where you get a nice impulsive buying. This is a stop raid, is what this looks like. So they pop it above the resistance, grind it around, and then it fails. So I think we're likely going to fail here on Peloton. Again, if the buyers come in and you get that big breakout candle, then it is a breakout, but I don't see it right now. I think we're likely just testing this resistance line here, and then we're going to fail and head lower. So if we break, likely if we fail, we're going to come back down to this level of support at $80, break that and head down to the next level of support, which is about $72.87 right there on Peloton. That's what I think is going to happen. One of my subscribers talked about Love, which is Southwest Airlines. So here's what I want to point out on Love. We've got a trend line here. We only have two reactions though. At the low of the March 2020 lows, got another reaction here, and we're right there at it. So we don't have a real valid trend line. I would say you probably want to give this the benefit of the doubt and just adjust your trend line now to capture this price action. Because I think, and maybe you move it up like this, we could be something like that, 1, 2, 3. But again, I'd want to give it a little bit more, another impulsive move down to give me a sell signal. However, one thing to notice is big negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. Momentum's just been falling off a cliff on this thing. So all of these little highs, these marginal new highs, are divergent highs. All right, this was your last divergent high here. So I think it's likely we're going to break down. But again, I'd like to give it the benefit of the doubt and see just, a break of this trend line. So I'm watching that. We don't have it yet, but I think sell signals coming soon in this. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. That's really all I see. There's not really a whole lot of things to take action on, but there's continues to just be a lot of setups. So these setups, when they trigger, will likely be our next kind of wave of trading action, for the next month or two once we get triggers on those. So, yep, that's where I'm at, guys. Leave me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.